This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
with the top end of Stevenson, Grado!
Welcome to Football Daft. My name is Stephen Purden and let's welcome the starting lineup. First, a man who thinks Rocky IV is the best film ever made. He's talking pish. It's Chris Toll.
Now, I think you need to qualify it by saying I said it's not the best movie ever made.
I know.
I said it's my favourite movie ever made. I love
But
it.
mate, it just sounded more controversial me saying it that way. I know you didn't say that and I know you don't think it. I know you just think it's your favourite film. That's alright.
Mate, I fucking love it. And it's one of the ones, if you're watching the telly and you're flicking through the channels and it's on, no matter what point it's at, you watch the rest of it. I used to watch it every time I come home, Steamboats, put fucking Rocky IV on. Me and my mate Muzz would sit and watch Rocky IV, have a few more drinks, and then fucking pass out on the couch.
Honestly, mate, that sounds fucking mental, man.
How's Muzz doing, man?
I know,
Muzz?
man.
He's
You and
good,
Muzz,
mate.
man, watching Rocky IV at your tits, man.
By the way, the fucking...
He's a fucking wild, man.
I know, man.
He doesn't even listen to this either, he'll no
Does he
fucking
not?
get that. No,
Too crazy to listen to.
He's too busy. He's not
too
watching
busy.
Rocky IV.
He's at his dial watching the Rocky fucking... What's that called? Fucking franchise? The Rocky franchise.
The
Brilliant,
Rocky franchise. And now let's welcome a man who doesn't know his Troy Deeney's from his Troy Delaney's. It is Grado.
What are you talking about?
Mate, you know what I'm talking about. And do you know
I'm
what?
not
That
getting-
ruined my night last night.
I'm not getting the piss taken out
Well, at
my
least
No, I'm not taking the piss at you.
Wait a
Oh,
minute,
he's on me.
Grado, hold on. At least you knew he was a fucking striker.
So
Correct.
did
He's been in the
fuck's
game
sake.
for years. He's a no-nonsense centre half.
I know. I fucked that up and I was raging that. That actually ruined my night last night.
What are you talking about?
Are you going to explain to the listeners what happened?
Right, we've
No.
got a group chat, we're talking football, Grado's get names mixed up, and I get mixed up going, because I was getting so annoyed. He was saying Troy Deeney's surname is Troy Delaney, and going, no, it's Troy Deeney. Toll saying it's Troy Deeney. And then I went to say, he's a big no-nonsense centre forward, and I said, he's a big no-nonsense centre half. And Grado got a hard on. I went, you don't know he's a fucking forward. Why not me?
Do I know what, Stevie? But I'm calling you out, mate. I've never heard anybody in the game of football being called a no-nonsense centre.
No, I meant to say he's a big...
You know what?
He's a big battering ram. He used to always lead the line for Watford. He used to be in my fantasy football team. You don't fuck with Troy Deeney. He's a big battering ram.
He's a penalty scoring motherfucker, isn't he?
He's a
He
He
big...
was good on Luther Rose podcast, so he was talking about growing up and how his father used to knock out the policemen and sell drugs and all that. It was
I'm
a
going to
really,
watch this.
really entertaining interview.
Do you know what, Grado? You've never steered me wrong. When you've suggested something, you've never steered me wrong.
Can I just put my neck in the line here and say, see the Luther Rose? I know we shouldn't have ever know that fucking hell. We're a scratch on Luther Rose work, do you know what I mean? But see his podcast, his guests have been phenomenal. Frankie Boyle, Rylan was surprisingly amazing.
Has he ever had Barry Feastenders?
No.
Gary Harkins is on next week, I've heard.
Aye.
Gary Harkins is
Has he ever had Gary Harkins or Barry Feastenders? Mate, come back to his man and say that on Archibald.
I tell you what. Listen, see if he ever gets Ian Murray. Let me know. I was saying, Grado, you never steer me wrong. What about the detectives?
Oh, the detectives, right? You know how I love
Talk me through it.
24 hours in police custody is a phenomenal. But it's not as good as what it used to be. I don't think there's not enough murders and deaths anymore. It's kind of
I know.
Say that there was a murder
Last
in
week,
Monday.
last week
Right.
you were looking for a cunt that was hiding in the forest.
Right, look, boys, right.
right. And see the detectives.
Detectives is good, right? Let's not just because we found something new start trying to pure bash 24 hours in police custody.
No,
Right.
I know, but this is what 24 hours in police custody used to be back in the
That's
day.
what Grado's saying.
Right? See, if you watch the detectives on BBC One, you're getting to see dead bodies. You're getting to see CCTV. You're going to see guns.
Mate,
and
you
folk
seen
getting their toes chopped off.
seen a murder or a live murder on
Aye.
the telly?
Aye, mate.
When has that ever been?
I mean,
know what I mean?
obviously, it's not a good subject and stuff like that, but it's
Aye, it's
thrilling
not
to
something
watch.
it's not really something I want to go on about people dying in real life, guys.
No,
I mean,
but
it's not
you,
really
just,
funny.
you should watch that because it's kind of not getting enough. Nobody's talking about it apart from me.
Aye.
I know, it's fucking brilliant, man. Anyway,
Anyway,
let's
John,
watch the detectives.
Right, Coop, so what's been happening in Scottish football? Huh?
Fucking
Well,
Hearts won the
Jambles.
league.
Aye.
Hearts won the league.
let's say a big congratulations to the Jambos who have got over their indifferent form of late and won the championship at a canter. Really, when you look at it, they've won it at a canter.
Do you know what? They have won at a canter. How is that manager getting as much fucking hassle as he's getting? He's won the league by a fucking mile. By a mile.
Aye. I think if the other teams went about him, won they shite, he wouldn't have won it. Obviously, he would have been under a bit more pressure, I think, because teams only taking advantage of him slipping up, really, were they? Like, teams have threatened. But Robbie Nielsen and the gang are coming up to the Premier League, guys, eh?
A good addition. A good addition.
It's good to get them back, but you think they might struggle next year? I think they need to kind of get
well,
that together.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Robbie Nielsen, because he kind of shat it for the Premier League with Dundee United, didn't he? And he didn't have a great time at the last time he came up with Hearts.
Aye.
So
you're looking at whoever's going to go down for the Premiership this season, Nielsen will probably take them on. And then fucking Craig Levein will be back in a job, man. He'll take the old Hearts back, won't he, man? Imagine Craig Levein back in Scottish football.
Never know. The man that we've got coming on the show later on might fancy another go at it.
Well, this is the thing. This will be very, very interesting. I actually can't believe we've got Jim Jeffries to come on a podcast. That's fair play to.
Right. In other news, Slavia Prague's Andre Kudela has been banned for 10 matches after racial abuse in Glenn Kamara, with the Rangers midfielder suspended for 3, which he was suspended for 5 initially. He got put into 3. So I don't really know where to start with this. I was really angry when I seen this yesterday.
Right, I'll take the reins for this one. I think, to be honest with you, it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting. The guy, if they've managed to ban him for 10 matches, then that is an admittance of guilt, right? If there's an admittance of guilt in place for a man that's been found guilty of making racial comments towards a black player or any player, regardless of skin colour or whatever, they should ban him for European competition for a year. And do you want to know what? That'll stop cunts for doing it in the future.
But is it an admittance of guilt because they've denied it and denied it and denied it? I think they should be getting bother. The club should get in bother for the way they've handled it right for the get-go.
Aye, that's a
Shouldn't
good
it just be the
point
player?
But
They've not owned up to it.
They must have found them guilty, though. They must have found them guilty, Grado.
Exactly. And is this the maximum or minimum? What's the crack?
There's so many rumours flying about. This is the minimum. This is the maximum. I don't know. Like daft things like fucking Rio Ferdinand failing to turn up to a drugs fucking test, get 8 months, was out the game for 8 months.
That's right.
Fucking, what do you call him? Kieran Trippier. Telling his fucking mates he's gone to fucking Spain. 12-game ban. Glenn Kamara getting racially abused, defends himself, gets a 3-game ban for defending himself, and this fucking guy's got a 10-game ban. Get the fuck.
And I didn't even think the story about Kamara was true. I thought that was all just made up. I mean, has that even been looked into?
Well, I think if it's not true, Rangers should definitely be hanging it.
Is it just in Europe? Is it just in European as well? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's just I on Celtic Daft I done Celtic Daft last night, right? And I thought that it was just a domestic ban for Kamara, but it's not. It's only European competition. However, with Kudela's any UEFA representative that he plays for, so he's going to miss the Euros as well.
Really?
So yeah, he's going to miss the Euros. However, because the Euros are there, let's say the Czech Republic get quite far into the Euros, he could, and say Slavia Prague go further in Europe as well, he could be back for the pre-season qualifiers for the Champions League.
Wow.
So for me, it's a slap in the wrist. I'm not hammering them the way that they should be. They're definitely not hammering them the way that they should be. And let's be honest, we know what UEFA's like. They're a bunch of shite bags when it comes to this. See if they come out and finally hammered somebody, like I said, ban them for all football competition for a year. Like you said, Stevie, Rio Ferdinand get 8 months for not turning up for a drug test. Exactly. That's for me, and I think for any fucking sane person on earth, racism is 110% worse than not turning up for a drug test.
Everything you said there, I agree with, man. I do, because I mean, it is a slap in the wrist. It's been such. You've been waiting. Their silence was fucking deafening to begin with. They didn't mention anything about it. They didn't come out and say anything, and then they finally came out. But what blows my mind is Kamara initially got half of the same punishment. Right, he's got 5-game ban to begin with. And he get put to a 3. So an extra 5 games for racial abusing somebody. How does it make sense? Like, there's no. It doesn't make
You
any
know what,
sense at all.
Stevie, see if somebody was on the street, right? Let's say a black guy's walking down the street, right? And somebody says something to him, right? And it's witnessed by loads of people. And the black guy turns around and fucking lamps someone. It's the guy that said something that's going to jail. Right? Do you know what I mean? See, incitement. That's a worse crime.
It's like somebody breaking into your gaff, you punch fuck out of them or do them, you're getting in jail for it.
Exactly.
But do you know what? It's a bit like banging your head against the wall with the likes of... Now, the Czech Republic president has come out, the actual president of the country, basically saying that this is a pinnacle of hypocrisy, positive discrimination and embarrassing undermining with stupid trends. We will not kneel before you. No threats will work on the Czech football fan. That's incredible.
Do you know what?
For a country.
See, the thing is though, there is a rule with FIFA and UEFA that if the politicians get involved in anything to do with football, that the country gets banned, because it happened with Cameroon and it happened with Nigeria before, I'm sure. Right?
I think it did. I think you're right. I remember something like that.
So for me, the Czech Republic, with that, I wasn't aware of that, Grado. The Czech Republic should be banned for the Euros for this. For him coming out and getting involved in the football, it's fucking ridiculous.
It's an absolute clusterfuck, the whole thing, man. Like, for what happened on the pitch, for what Clarence Seedorf is right. See, if a player comes up and does that, boom, should be booked right away, or something should happen right away. You should not need to cover your mouth when you're fucking... For a start, why is he coming there and trying to fucking say something in Glenn Kamara's ear anyway? That's the question you ask. Why is he come... Why, when you watch what happened, he's away there, Kamara's there, he goes out his way to go away into Kamara. Do you know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, but...
Because do you want to know what? He's hoping that Kamara turns around and lamps him on the spot and gets sent off.
What do you think the punishment should be then?
He should be banned for a fucking full year, John.
And John, it's no just the player, it's the club. It's like, I mean,
and the president,
the prime minister of the country
shouldn't be allowed to go to the football either.
Do you know what I mean? What chance have you got?
Slavia Prague have handled it fucking horrendously, man.
It's embarrassing.
It is.
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's terrible, but I hope Arsenal fuck them. But do you know what the thing is?
Here.
Mate, do you know what the thing is? But see what the most annoying thing is? They're a really good team.
That's it.
They're a really good team. They are, and they're hard to beat. And they're very technically very good, and I think they'll do Arsenal. I really do.
Anyway.
Here's hope not. But let's get to a team who are playing really good football at the moment. It is West Ham United, and they are looking to buy Odsonne Edouard. Christopher Toll.
Swap him for your manager.
Would you take Moyes, eh?
Mate, you can't argue with the job he's done at West Ham this season.
Mate, right, I don't know if I said it on the podcast a while ago. I don't know. I still think David Moyes looks like a guy when he's getting interviewed going, I don't know how I'm doing this. Do you know what I mean? Remember, he was out with COVID, right? And it was Alan Irvine took care of his assistant, and Alan Irvine, that's when they started really fucking playing good football. He's come back in, and I remember going, it's got to go to fuck now. And then he keeps going, but every time I see him get interviewed after it, he always looks pure. A bit like John, like, you're doing well. aye. It's gone well, just one game at a time, man.
It's one of the ones like so David, why are you playing? How are you managing to play such good football? I don't know.
Seriously, I genuinely think David Moyes goes up the road a wee bit earlier, and Alan Irvine takes the team and goes, never mind all that. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? Before he comes back. Just keep
Alan Irvine's like, right, David, don't go and check the dugouts are all right. And I'll be out in a minute.
My favourite likes watching West Ham.
I used to watch I used to watch that guy as a season ticket.
He always watches the West Ham games, the Crystal Palace games.
Yeah, one of the biggest fucking unbelievable stories this season, I can't get my head around, is fucking Jesse Lingard. Looks like a world beater.
What a player he's done, doesn't he?
He looks like a world beater, man.
It just shows you, but doesn't it? It just shows you if you play a player in the right position and game the playing time, that they can come out, they can do well, you know. And I always thought he was a bit of a show pony and a bit of a fanny, to be honest with you, but what a footballer he's turning out to be.
I always thought he was the very definition of a modern day football player with too much fucking money.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? But
right.
He does. But fair play, man. David Moyes to Celtic and Odsonne Edouard to West Ham. Would you be happy with that then, Toll?
Aye, I would be happy with that now. Right at this precise moment in time, aye. But
Aye.
you never
Let's
know.
have
man.
another wee fucking Celtic manager update for you, Tol. What's happening? You heard any rumours, or are you anybody else you want, or?
I don't know. No, but Klamala's away. Looks like Klamala's away. What a move for him. New York Red Bulls, $3.5 million. Fucking Peter Lawwell's doing the business on his way out the door, isn't he?
What? Did you not pay nearly 5 for him?
No, we paid 3.5. We're getting the money back that we fucking paid for him.
Fair dues. Fair dues.
You know what I mean? But aye, it's looking good that way, and I think it looks like Griffiths might be away as well, and there's talk of Yeti leaving as well. So I think the only player we're going to have up front next season, but I like to say, is Bayo, and that's if he comes back for fucking loan.
Aye, well, we shall see, man. Kamala away for 5 million, that's good, mate. But anyway, bottom of the league. Bottom of the league is where it's heating up. Because obviously, top of the league, man's fucking formality. 20 points clear the jails and that. They've squished it, you know what I mean? But the bottom of the league is very tight. Who's going down? Because Brian Rice has just signed a new deal. His backroom staff, Hamilton's that going to give him a wee shot in the arm?
Well, Hamilton always survive it, didn't they? Everybody says it every year. They always find a way, didn't they?
Can they keep doing that? Can they keep doing that?
Do you know what the last game of the season is, though? It's Hamilton Kilmarnock.
Where is
wow.
Where is it?
At Hamilton.
I was going to say the plastic pitch might play a fucking factor, but the two of them have got shiny
Two of them have
pitches,
got it.
But the thing
If
is,
that goes to the last game of the season, my money's on Hamilton.
how many goals has Kyle Lafferty scored so far? But he's fucking doing brilliant with him, isn't he?
Did they not? He's only scored in one game, is he not?
Fucking better move.
He did. He scored a hat trick in one game, and that's it.
No, he scored more than that.
I don't think he has, mate.
I'm happy as well. Got my bed.
Yeah.
You sure?
Do you want to hear other exciting news, man? I'm trying to take the heat off Grado. Do you want to hear exciting news, man?
Mm-hmm.
I got my COVID jab today, man.
Get to fuck.
I did.
Is this through River City?
No, I care for my mother-in-law.
Right, okay, right, fair enough. I was ready for jumping on my both feet there. I've still no had mine. I've got one lung.
One
lung
you need to work on your
I've got.
aggression, mate. You need to work on your aggression.
Stevie, I've got one lung. If I catch COVID, I'm fucked.
I'm up for you getting it.
How do you get one long?
He's only one lung. We've known that for ages.
I've got 2 half lungs. I had a fucking bad time, mate, when I was a boy with a fags.
But was you born with one young? Was you born with one young?
No, mate, I was angry. I had to get a spinal surgery, and when they opened my back, they seen that my spine had damaged both of my lungs.
Fuck's sake, mate.
So they had to amputate a half each lung.
Right, if anybody is needing the COVID jab, it's Chris Toll. So if anybody's listening out there, they can get Chris in quicker because he's only got 2 half lungs. Let's get him in and let's get his COVID jab.
It's a GoFundMe.
Start a GoFundMe. That's it.
Start a GoFundMe page for Chris Toll, and if anybody wants to buy him any sweeties, because there's always a big queue waiting to go in and get the jag, get some sweeties to eat on the way in.
That'll only happen if Paul stays in front of me in the queue.
Right, boys, it's getting to the end of the season. Let's a wee bet. Who's going down? I'm saying Kelly.
I'm going to say Kelly as well.
John?
I think Hamilton. I don't know why I'm saying Hamilton because they always survive, but I'm going to say Hamilton this time around.
Toll?
I'm going to say Ross County area.
Oh, no Yogi, man. No, nah.
I actually tipped him. I tipped him to stay up at the start of the season, but I'm going to.
You tipped Motherwell to go down. Remember, I tipped St Johnston.
That's right.
But I'll go with. I'm going with Kelly. Definitely. I think it's Tommy Wright. Like John says, Tommy Wright. I thought maybe I've gave him a wee shot in the arm when he came in, but it's not really happened, didn't it? No.
Did they get the fucking COVID jag on all the cunts?
Right. More football chat, boys, later, and daft chat in the open line soon. And on the big question, we are looking for Scottish football's greatest away day. Woofed. And our guest this week is a legend of Scottish management. He led Falkirk to 5th in the Premier League and Hearts to the Scottish Cup. It's the one and only Jim Jeffries.
Now remember, if you've been in a road traffic accident and it's not your fault, G4 claims they're here to make it easy for you. Because what do? They provide you with complete accident management support that you require. Listen to this. They're going to recover their costs for the at-fault party. Not only that, they're going to sort you a like-for-like vehicle replacement. Get this. They're also going to organise your vehicle to be repaired at one of their approved body shops and returned back to your front door. Now listen, Should your vehicle be deemed a write-off, they're going to recover the pre-accident value for your motor, write you a big fat cheque for it, and best of all, it's not going to cost you a penny, as they charge the at-fault insurance direct. Why would you do anything else? You need to go to G4 Claims because they don't cold call, they don't buy data. Once I've processed your claim, your insurance is going to remain unscathed. It's an absolute no-brainer. The best thing you can do is go to Nicole and the team because they're not going to take on your case if they don't think they can help you. So, if you've been in a road traffic accident or you ken somebody that has, get onto G4 Claims. It's easy. 01698 767 172. That's 01698 767 172. Get them at notatfullclaim.com or find them on social media at G4 Claims Limited. G4 Claims, not at fault claims, made easy.
Easy. It's the Football Daft open line, the open line where anything goes. Will Celtic ever appoint a new manager, Chris Toll? No. Do you think Lee Griffiths will end up at Aberdeen?
Yes, I do. I do think so.
Or he's maybe going back to Hibs, who knows? And just who is H in line of duty? We don't know.
Oh!
And no spoilers because I've not seen the new series yet.
I'm starting to think it's one of the three mains.
Do you think so?
I'm
I think
starting
it
to
still might be Hastings, man.
I think it could be. I think it could be Kate.
I will go out there,
maybe.
theory. Well, you can give us your theory if you want. We'll hand over to our panel of football experts. Here they are. It's Stephen Keevins, it's Graham Goody, and it is, of course, Chris Delahunt. So let's go to our first caller. He's been on before. It's Derek Johnston, not that one.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Is it DJ?
Welcome to the show. What would you like to say to the panel?
How are we?
Good, mate.
Derek, have you been speaking to the police?
No, mate, I don't like the Polish too. Try to stay away from that lot.
How can we help you today, Derek? What do you want to talk about?
So, back about Christmas time, you had Mo Ross on the show, boys. It was a brilliant podcast, but during it, you gave a mention of the Jinx documentary.
Aye.
It sent me down a wee rabbit hole, so I was looking to turn football daft into documentary daft that wrestling daft seen, basically, and get some more documentary recommendations after.
Derek, mate, I swear to God, I couldn't agree with you any more, mate. I'm no joking. I'm right behind you with that. I'd love to come on here and talk about documentaries every week. I watched a documentary the other night. Listen to this, right? You'll love it. It's called Honeyland, right? And it's about a wee woman in Macedonia that basically stays in a fucking... She's just got rocks for a house. She's not got a kitchen. She's not even got mattress for her bed. And she's with her wee old ma. And her wee old ma's 85. She's got a big gash in her head, right? And all they've got to eat is honey because they breed bees, right? And it's very, very interesting. So she breeds these bees and she takes the honey and she goes into the town and sells tubs of honey. Then this other mob move in, right? This family. And they start going, and this is all recorded over 4 years. And they're going, here, how do you breed bees? How do you make honey? She says, look, this is how you do it. So then they end up stealing all the bees, and this poor woman's left without no income. Her old ma dies, the winter comes, and I swear to God, man, it's one of the most eye-opening documentaries. You don't know you're born watching this. It was superb. However, back to it will never beat the Jinx. The Jinx is superb.
Jinx
Robert
is
Dust,
amazing.
for what he done, he's a bad man, but you can't help but love his charisma, man. He's a great character, isn't he? Andy that walks into a shop with £3,000 in their pocket and fucking nabs a piece.
Steals a sandwich. What a boy! What a boy!
Some
man.
boy.
I tell you
Wow, boy.
I've got one for you. See if you like that Robert Dust the Jinx one. There's a series. I don't know if you can get it here. I've watched it through a VPN, shall we say?
ExpressVPN.
And it's called Very Scary.
watch that.
It's called Very Scary People. Right? See if you can get a hold of it. Watch it. It's fucking dynamite. It's all about serial killers, but it's done through a series and it's hosted by Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, aye.
It's a brilliant show, man. You should give that a go. That's how I heard about Robert Dust.
Right. But see, I know what you mean, too, but I don't like and then the narrator. I don't like all that
It's
Channel
not
5
like
kind of,
that.
and then come on. I like when it's all quite raw and quite.
That's
know
what
what I
it was. That's what it is. It's interviews with the people that were involved in everything and all that. So it's really good. But a wee aside, do you know, see Fred Dust for Limp Bizkit, do you know his real name's Robert Dust?
Is it?
Is it?
Aye. And it's even when it all came out about Robert Dust and all that, everybody thought that it was Fred
He's
Dust
caught
that had knocked people off. Brilliant. What a buzz.
So did you watch it all then, Derek? Aye.
Aye, mate, I battered through a lot of it. Then, because I watched that, I ended up watching the movie that it's based on. Well, the movie that all that's based on.
What was
and
it
I
called
sat there
again?
going, this is a lot of shite because half it was missing.
Aye.
It's like,
It wasn't
I
the same
watched
the movie,
that.
wasn't it? No.
Nah, I watched the Tina Turner documentary and all after you recommended that a couple of weeks ago. Me and the missus sat there the full time and I'm like, she's shite compared to wee Tote, to be honest.
Tote, I love when you do Tina Turner.
My old mind, river deep, mountain high. Yeah,
Amazing. Well, Derek, hopefully you got some documentary recommendations there for the boys.
Seaspiracy's no bad, by the way. You'll never eat a fish again.
That's
Watch that, mate. Aye.
Sad. See the whales getting fucking. That was horrible. Horrible.
Well, that's
Made you want Scotland to beat the Faroe Islands even more, didn't it?
I did, mate. It was in the same week you get released, Dorothy. You're right.
Right, Derek, thanks for coming on, mate.
Superb, man. Cheers, Derek.
Cheers,
Oh,
Derek.
cheers, lads. Keep up the good work.
Cheers,
See you
pal. Thank
later.
you.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
Let's go on to our next core. It's Ian Coisty Milne, who's been on before.
He's been on before as well, hasn't he?
His middle name is Coisty, so there we go.
It's McCoist.
I thought we take that Honeyland documentary. I just like daft things like that. That's no.
I'll get
Hello.
up. How you doing,
Hello.
Coisty?
I'm good.
Coisty?
Doing well. Yours all, you've done good.
That's
Brilliant, mate.
a
Brilliant.
smashing jumper you've
I
got
know.
there, mate. You've
It's nice,
been sitting in that for 10 years, you can't.
Ha. Got to buy all the merch when it comes out. I've been waiting so long.
That's it, bro.
Aye.
Quite right.
You're through to the panel. What would you like to see this week, sir?
Obviously, it's all from weekend this weekend, or if Chris wants to call it Glasgow Derby.
I just call it a football, mate. The football's happening this weekend. I can't wait.
It used to be
Yeah.
a chill out, man.
I know, man.
It should be
The
a
tension's
good
a bit
weekend,
fucking
hopefully.
bit too much, isn't it?
Aye, but the question I was wanting to ask about you basically just your earliest memories of your not your earliest memories, but your first ever. What's your memories of your first ever Old Firm game that you attended?
Oh.
Mine's was Rangers Celtic in November '95. Was it the free each game? I've spoken about it loads of times, but I just remember that 1995 was the first season that I started going to Ibrox. My father and I think we played Hibs and then we played Falkirk and whatever, and the atmosphere was all right. But see, just as a young boy, I think I was 8-year-old at the time, and just turning up and just seeing Celtic warm up and the full Broomland being ta'en, and it was just like, it was actually quite a bit like, what do you call that? No,
Intimidating.
Aye, it was just, there was something about it, and it was like, oh, and like the guy behind you that's always like sitting in his horns for the full game, he's up already singing and going.
It's overwhelming when you first go there.
Overwhelming, that's the word I'm looking for. And I just remember being like, but also that was a game where, did we not score a goal? Did David Robertson score a goal? And then we didn't know exactly. It was a weird game. But
Jerry, what's the score? Remember that? Come on.
aye, that's right. Aye. But I mean, I don't. Ever since then, man, you're like that. You just want to go to every single one of them.
I think my first one was, I think it was when Goff scored. Remember Richard Goff scored the header?
Header, aye.
Gaza scored as well that day.
Gaza scored the
He had his
goal,
bleached blonde hair and it was spiky.
Sure, that was the first one I met with my dad, but someone's telling me it's no, but I think it was. But I remember, like Greg was saying, walking up and you just see the full Broomy and it's just a sea of green and white, and it's something you've never seen, because obviously you go to the games, the away fans, only team that maybe comes close to filling their allocation like Celtic is maybe Aberdeen when they come to Ibrox. But then when you see that full Broomy, just green and white, and you're like, wow, this is, and you just hear there's a different vibe in there for any other game you go to. But I think it was a 2-0 that game, Gaza and Goff, if I'm right. I think it was.
I'm a few years before you, lads. My first Old Firm was the St Patrick's Day Massacre, where we Celtic hammered Rangers. I think it was 3-0 that day. We scalped you, and then we beat you again the next week. Right, and I was at that one as well, and my dad's like, "You need to come here."
We'll just talk about the first one, mate. Don't need to go on about the other games.
Right, never.
You've been a mascot. You've been a mascot in the Old Firm games now.
Nah, mate. Fucking, do you know what? The fucking bastards stopped me. The bastards, German bastards.
I'll mention my first one. My first one was in April 1998, the season that obviously the month later Celtic had gone to stop 10 in a row.
Yeah.
It was 2-0 to Rangers, and Jonas Tern and George Alberts. Jonas Tern
What?
scored a
Jonas Tern
volley.
scored an
Did Timo
absolute
score a mega world?
bomber.
No.
Aye,
It
was
from the
it?
edge of the box, a
Aye.
thunderbolt, and I can remember just that goal going in, and just the full like place going mental, and just the excitement in the place, and I was like, there was tears running down my eyes of happiness. It was the best feeling ever.
He was
And do you
one
know
of the
what?
players you thought he was going to be, because he was a class act, but he just never really got going at Rangers, man. But that was one of the greatest Old Firm goals ever.
You'll never, you'll never replace the memories at all. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's something that you'll take to your grave with you.
They're so vivid and auto, weren't they?
Aye, man. Aye, they really are.
Aye, they are. Aye, they are.
John, what was your first Old Firm?
Do you know what? I've never been to an Old Firm. I've been to an Edinburgh Derby, but I've never been to an Old Firm.
What can you remember your first Dunfermline Falkirk match?
Falkirk, yeah, it would have been. Do you know what I think? My first one was the Scottish Cup when we beat them in the Scottish Cup on the way to the final. That was cracking. That was hideous, though, because it was right off the back. Norrie McCarthy sadly passing away, so there was a lot of needle and a lot of disgusting songs sang by the Falkirk supporters that day. Let me tell you,
sounds mayhem, man.
What was it like? Was that a mega eye opener when you went to the Edinburgh Derby? Like, oh my god.
No, I mean, Falkirk and Dunfermline, there's a lot of needle in that. But
I know, but there's only 40 counts of it.
But
I've been to a few
Derby was amazing. I have to say that.
You've been to a few, have you?
I'm from Falkirk, so I went to a few of my pals in the past. Went to East End Park and it.
You ever got involved in any of the naughtiness when you were there, Ian?
Nah.
Have you ever seen John up the high street?
No, not yet.
Well,
Right.
hopefully when the doors open, I'll tell you what, when we get crowds back in the stadium, I'll take you boys to a Falkirk Dunfermline match. If you take,
you're all right, mate. It's cool.
Okay,
It's all right. I'm busy that night.
Just for the offer.
I don't like sitting in a gazebo.
Ian, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Ian.
See you later.
So that's it for this week's open line. Thanks to all our callers this week. If you want to get on next week, dead easy. Just keep an eye out on Twitter or the Facebook, or get involved in our Patreon. Patreon.com/Football Daft.
Football Daft's big question.
Scottish football, lots of great away venues. Been to a lot in the past, used to go to away games all the time. But the big question this week is, what is Scotland's best away day? Toll, you're like a man that's been a journeyman of Scottish football.
I've been all over the place, to be honest with you. I've got two that I really enjoy, to be honest. I love Tynecastle purely because you're right in Tarpier, but I've got a soft spot for Rugby Park.
Oh mate, I'm with you with that.
I really have got a soft spot for Rugby Park, purely because see when it's going well and the fans are jumping up and down, you think the place is going to actually fall down. You can feel the stand bouncing and all that, and obviously the fucking pie stall's all right and all in it.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that, mate. I love that and all. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the fact that it's only like 20 minutes down the road, so it's like you can drink the boozer to the very last kick of the ball before you go up. But it's funny. I remember. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Bob, right? But I remember being at Rugby Park. Maybe I can remember my mate Patty was there, so it was maybe 2007. And I remember, you know how when you go to Rugby Park, a lot of folk congregate just at the kind of down the stairs before you got the stairs done. And I remember going, fucking shell suit Bob's on there. Shell suit Bob's on there. Remember that? Nah? Like, do you remember going to Rugby Park and doing that? Nah? Not that Pacific Day, but
no, I don't. I remember Rugby Park. I'm not just saying it because you used to say it. It's probably one of my favourites as well. Me and my mate Junior used to go.
It's the only stadium where I've started a chant and all.
What was the chant?
And I've watched it like go for like my row till it the next stone. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh fucking
the away days are always...
well done, man. You started that.
You know, every time we used to go to away games, me and my mate Tam went to Fir Park. Remember, Rangers were in the early doors section of the League Cup or some grade. We beat Motherwell at Rugby Park, and it was like Waghorn scored a fucking belter with his left peg, and we were right behind the goal. Me and my mate Tam walked in, and it's like one person sees you and a bit of banter starts, and it's just mere banter at a away game. It's always shell suit, geese the sash. And you're not going to start singing the sash, and then all you get is shell suit, shell suit, and it's all away days are always the best. Another one I used to really enjoy was Tannadice. Used to like
Aye.
Tannadice as well. Aye.
Been a couple of good games up there as well. Tannadice is good. Do you know what? I've never been to Hearts and Rangers. I've never done that. I've
I've
been
not
to
done
Scotland, been to
Tynecastle.
Tynecastle's amazing.
That's
mate,
that.
honestly.
I think for me, Tynecastle is one of the best away days because you're getting the train through for Falkirk.
You'll not remember what Tynecastle's like.
Oh, fuck off! Right. But you get to through it. There's a load of good boozers on the ground and all that. But I mean, Grado, Stephen, did you go to when you Rangers were coming up through the league?
Mate, that was going to be my next thing. That's what I was going to say. What I used to go to Dumbarton, wait to Dumbarton games because we used to work Saturdays and Sundays sometimes down at River City, and obviously we film in Dumbarton. Went to a couple of games at Dumbarton. Absolute shithole of a stadium.
That's what makes it though. That's what.
Aye.
Isn't it?
Going through the leagues, John, I was always wrestling every Saturday, so I kind of missed that. Although I did go to a couple of games at Somerset Park, I don't think I've missed a game there.
Somerset Park's there's a good one as well. Somerset Park's a great.
But there was Tav's first game as captain a couple of years ago. I remember being there, man, and it was snowing, and it was honestly the coldest game I've ever been to. But there's nothing better when Rangers come to town and they take you up, or Celtic and all when they go to a wee stadium and everything's been, and it looks amazing, all packed and all.
I stand at Somerset Park as well. All the standing behind the goal.
That's right.
Why I love like Capello and Somerset Park and all these kind of places. I love Montrose. I've been up to Montrose a few times and great boozers on the high street. Great wee wander down to the ground. Great on the train journey up. It's all about the journey on the way up.
It is, man. All that banter. That's what I love. That, man. Years ago, we used to always get the bus for Duke Street away days. Down there, a couple of pints on the bus, boom, away to the that stuff. You can't put a price on that. It's so good, man. The away days are the best. Cool, man.
So shall we hear? shall we hear what some of the punters have been saying?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah,
Chris.
let's do it, Chris. Let's do it.
Right. So Rab, funnily enough, has come in. He says he loves Tynecastle for the atmosphere. So good to see that they'll be back next season. Congratulations to Hearts again.
Do you know what, Todd? It's funny you say that as well, right? And Rab says that, but see the amount of players you hear as well that say they love playing there. I remember Barry Ferguson saying he prefers playing there than at Parkhead.
They all love Tynecastle, didn't they, man? They all love it.
Mm-hmm.
Stuarty's got in touch. He says, Annan away, train down at 10:15, few beers, then head to the Shed pub for a few more beers, 5 minutes stagger to the ground, then back for a few more before train home, and then a few more beers. That sounds cracking.
Aye. At Glasgow lockdown, Aberdeen away, end of conversation. I was
never been to Pittodrie.
I was never allowed to go to Pittodrie because my brother was 8 and he was in a pub with his father and he get the heat put on him when he was 8-year-old and a boozer up there. So
Christ, man.
My big mate Bert would go to, he's been to Orem, I think, man. He always says that, like Pittodrie, there was like some dodgy times going there.
It's the coldest stadium in the fucking world, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly.
Celtic.
I like wrestling there, but
Callum says so many are great, but Celtic and Wraith for the hot dogs.
oh, I've never had a Wraith hot dog.
No, I've not done a hot dog.
It's all about the Killie pie, innit? You never hear about the Kirkcaldy hot dog.
No, but then they always go about the Dunfermline Bridie, didn't they, John?
The Bridie at Dunfermline. Is it Browns? What's the butchers?
Brownings.
I think
Brownings.
I think
it's. Sure that sounds
Brownings
are Kelly.
Brownings do the Killie pies.
Is it Browns? But there's a baker in Dunfermline and the Bridies. As much as I fucking hate Dunfermline, the Bridies are fucking brilliant.
I want to try a Kirkcaldy wiener, man. That's what I mean. Right, Robert said used to love going to Ayr United. Did feel like a proper day out, and up to Dundee 4 times a year was also good.
There you go. Gary says Hibs are Hearts away. They're brilliant stadiums and usually a decent away following. Loads of ways to get there, pubs galore, and you can also stay out afterwards for about 6 hours, get the last train home. The jackpot is an Edinburgh trip in August.
Oh, aye.
If we're allowed.
Ross says Inverness away. 7 a.m. cans getting opened for the train or the bus. Up there for opening time. Pints in the sun at the Mallard. Drinks and songs all day. Love it.
Do you know what? Fair play to the boys that go to all their games. That they got up at 6 bells and...
Inverness away is a good... I've done Inverness. I did that for my stag do Inverness away. Fucking
it's
brilliant.
another one that's fucking freezing. It's right on the water and it's absolutely Baltic.
And it's that one road, that one track road all the way up, and if you're stuck behind a like an old tractor or
and
something,
you're busting for a piss because you've tanned about 8 fucking cans, man. Right, Ross, no, that's Ross said that. It's Dave says Dunfermline. Bud over the bridge, bounce into Cody's for 12, DJ on, plays the Hibs songs, gets the whole pub bouncing, and usually a trip there after the game before getting the last train home. I want to do this, man. This is making me jealous,
I
man.
know, man.
Dan says Inverness away by a great mile. No, he says Inverness away by a mile. Great wee set up at the Grun, but the night or two away up there is class. Johnny Foxy's all night. Can't beat it. You know that Inverness is like the most, what was it? There's something about it's the most. What do you call that when it's become new? It's the most
gentrified.
Is that what you call it?
Gentrified.
Because there's been hotels put in, there's more nightclubs. It's apparently the fastest rising in Europe, and I do agree, man. It is. It's all apart from the travel up there, but it's a good.
I've not been
there. It's a fucking trek.
Years, man.
Johnny,
Chris says Hibs are hearts away, getting the train over the bridge, going round all the old backstreet Edinburgh boozers, and then the shitty Edinburgh style fish and chips on the way home. Doesn't matter if you won or lost in Edinburgh, always a good day out.
See that?
Definitely.
See with the shitty fish and chips. What is that? Surely they don't.
Salt and sauce. I like it.
Aye. Right. Okay. No, because I thought, you know, when you go to England and you go to Alton Towers and it's like a bird's eye fish. It's
Aye.
It's not that in Edinburgh, is it?
No.
No.
Sauce.
Salt and sauce. I think he's talking about, but I like the salt and sauce.
I love salt and sauce.
Ian says, for the pies, Rugby Park, for the trip, Dingwall to face Ross County.
By the way,
there's a man who knows what he likes.
But do you know something? I could be wrong here, but I'm sure Kelly and Browns or whatever the mob that done it, I'm sure they've had a fallout. I don't think they do it anymore.
Aye, they don't do the Kelly pies anymore.
Nah, because...
Who the fuck does it now then?
No, because what happened was Brownings were selling Kelly pies and Kelly trademarked it or something like that. So they couldn't actually put Kelly pie on the package.
It's called now a Kilmarnock pie. I'm sure if you try and get it in the shops. Tynecastle, Jordan says Tynecastle, no doubt about it. He says, although I had a few trips to East Fife away that were class, also Forest Mechanics, that was someday. Oofed. I couldn't tell you where Forest is. Where is that again?
It's up the arse end of nowhere, man. It's right up at the very top, I think.
Inverness.
Aye, so Kevin is the last person to come in. He says, Ross County is your push before you even get to the game.
Let me tell you a story about a couple of decades ago. Private citizens used to be largely that. What were they? They were private. What's changed? The internet. Think about it. Everything you've browsed, searched for, watched or tweeted, everything is all recorded now. Imagine that data being crawled through, collected, aggregated by third parties into a permanent public record. By the way, your record. Having your private life exposed for others to see was once something only celebrities worried about, but in an era where everybody's online, everybody's a public figure, you need to keep your data private when you go online. That is why I turn to ExpressVPN. Here's the deal. You've got hundreds of data brokers out there, and it's their sole business is to buy you your data and sell it. The worst part is they don't even have to tell you they're selling it. They don't even need your consent. One of the data points is your IP address. These data harvesters, they use your IP and they uniquely identify you and your location. But there is a but. ExpressVPN. Because when my connection gets rerouted through an encrypted server, my IP address is masked. Every time I turn on ExpressVPN, I'm given a random IP address. It's shared by other ExpressVPN customers. That makes it more difficult for third parties to identify me and harvest my data. And the best part is, how easy is it to use? ExpressVPN, no matter what device you're on, it could be your phone, your laptop, smart telly. All you need to do is tap one button and you're getting yourself protected. So if you're like me and you believe that your data is your business, then secure yourself with the #1 rated VPN in the market. It's visit expressvpn.com, or should I say expressvpn.com is a website. Get it visited. Get 3 months for free. It's expressvpn.com, expressvpn.com/daft. Now it's daft because we've got those gimmicks in the mail called bills. Go to expressvpn.com/daft to learn more.
It's the player profile playoff with piesports.com, giving you the taste of Scottish football while we're in lockdown by delivering pies to your door. You can get all sorts of pies in there: curry pies, macaroni pies, steak pies. It's all there. Just go and check out the website, piesports.com. You can get them in for the games this weekend. Of course, it's the Old Firm, so you might want to get them sorted for that. 01417399999 is the number you want to call if you want to order them across the phone, and they'll deliver free of charge to a lot of postcodes across Scotland, so check out the website to find out if you can get yours. We every week on Football Daft we like to give away some pies, and we play a little game, and on that game one of our listeners will take on one of the boys, and this
what are you on about?
We play a little game.
Every week we play a little game, and in that little game,
this week playing the little game, it is Gary Clark. How you doing, Gary?
I'm very well, thanks. How yourselves?
Good, Gary.
mate.
Good
Don't
stuff.
fuck with Gary, man. You look
I
solid.
know, man. Look at his size of you.
Big boy, man.
Who'd you support, Gary?
I'm a Rangers man.
There we go.
He's been on Rangers daft, hasn't he?
That's right.
We have. That's right, Gary.
Gary, you were, before we get into the game, you were wanting to mention something about the Scottish Cup this weekend. Is that right?
Aye, so it was a wee question I wanted to put with the panel. So Scottish Cup games coming up this weekend, and do you remember seeing when you were wee? Because you guys are probably about the same
Aye,
age as me.
it was yesterday for me, mate.
Right, remember when you were young and it was
There we
Scottish
go.
Football Day, and you would have the cartoons had finished in the morning, right away the coverage was on for the Fitba. It was on for 11 o'clock till 3 o'clock, and it was a proper big build up, and no matter who was playing in it, you would make a point of watching it and you would look forward to it. You don't really get that much these days. In my opinion, I think it's because, say, like BBC or Sky or whoever's showing it, they'll maybe stick it on an hour before it starts. There's not much of a build up. And in my opinion, I think is the most popular sport in the country. That should be BBC Scotland's flagship sporting event for the year.
Aye.
Where do you?
Sorry, keep going.
Where do you think the kind of magic's been lost for the Scottish Cup, and what do you think could be done to bring that back? But
I think it's just mate. It's just
bang on.
It's all money. It's money with TV.
I don't think that's what it is. Remember back in the day, live football wasn't available all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And see when it came to Scottish Cup final day, that was one of probably, I think they showed 6 games a season live or something. So that was 1 of 6. So I think that's where it's been.
But he's bang on, right? Because, John, a day you probably like to forget, but I can still remember watching Killie and Falkirk, and Gary, you're bang on for like fucking early doors in the morning. Your team's not involved in it, but you're watching the highlights of the season. They've got interviews, they've got the players turning up and all that, and walking on the pitch, and it was a big occasion.
There was see the last season's League Cup final where Celtic beat us 1-0 and Christopher Julian scored. We were doing Pantogrado. I remember BT Sport done a thing for 12 o'clock or something, or 11 o'clock in the morning.
It was 9 o'clock in the morning. It was on for
something like that, pure early. My mates were saying it's the best coverage I've seen, and that's the only time in modern day football I can remember it being such a fucking spectacle. Do you know what I mean? Where it's a throwback to the old days where if I was doing Panther that day, I know for a fact I'd have been up fucking whatever time it's starting, sitting there ready, and you're buzzing. Do you know what I mean? But
and then they took it off them.
Aye, they took it off BT. But BT really they done it really fucking. They were bang on with that day, man. Oh, fucking emotional, man.
So anyway, Gary, what's your thing, mate? What's your buzzer?
What's your buzzer going to Gary? So the
memories.
Sorry, go on. What you saying, mate?
So the game, Gary, if you don't know what it is, I'm going to read out a player description from a season in Scottish football. All you got to do is guess what the player is quicker than one of the boys does. First to 2 wins, but if you do guess, Gary, and it's wrong, you're out the game and hand over control to the other boys. First to 2 wins. Gary, what is your buzzer going to be?
I'm going to go for 55, just because that's what everybody else has been going for the last. Easy to remember.
That's true. Right, let's find out who you're playing today, Gary. It is Christopher Toe.
Again.
For fuck's sake.
I actually talked to my pal before I come on this, and I was saying, I hope I don't get told. I was hoping I would get Grado, because I think my football knowledge is roughly.
Fuck that, I'm playing him. Come on.
Okay, right.
All right then, Grado.
Here we go then. So, what's your
buzzer, Grado?
Pies.
Hurry
up, I had a good
buzzer there, no man.
Oh, did you?
What was it?
Golacio.
I'll stick with pies.
Kill me.
The season, gentlemen, we're going back to this week is the 24-2015 season.
Oh, that's a
no.
bad one.
That's
a bad one.
That's a bad one.
I
Because,
know.
mate, I'm not even watching it then, really.
Let's
SPL.
prove it then.
Fucking hell, man.
That was Hearts obviously pipped Rangers to the Championship. Celtic won the title in the League Cup. And it's a bad one because Inverness beat Falkirk in the final of the Scottish Cup.
Nah, I'm not going to do well on this.
I don't want to do this season either, but we'll crack on anyway. Right, okay, guys, ready? Here's your first player. After being released by Brentford, this right back ended up at Aberdeen after previously being loaned to the club the season before. In a match against Celtic, he complained of racist abuse from opponent Alexander Tonev.
Pies.
Gary got in first, Grado.
Is it Shea Logan?
Fuck's
It is Shea Logan, mate. 1-0.
I said Shea Logan before I said pies, fuck's sake.
Right.
Shea Logan pies.
First time you said anything before you've said pies.
Right, next player. Come on, Grado. This Finnish international returned to Kilmarnock after a loan spell in 2010, where he became a cult hero and was nominated for Player of the Year in Scotland. As an attacking midfielder, he was a set-piece specialist and scored 5 goals on his return, although he failed to agree a new deal at the end of the season.
Pies. Can't remember his name. Begins with an E. Emilio. Emmanuel. Oh, fuck, I can't remember his name. Emilian.
No, nearly.
Emmanuel.
No, that's a porno.
Emmanuel.
Right.
Gabriel.
You're wrong, Grado. Gary, you got to have a stab at it.
I've honestly not got a clue. No idea.
Ermolenko.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man.
Oh, what a player he was.
He was some fucking player.
Do you know who I was talking about?
I know who you were talking about. But
Aye, the only person that never knew who you were talking about was you, Grado.
Aye.
Emmanuel. Right, next player then, boys. This was the centre-half's second season at Motherwell after joining them from Bristol City. Having won 26 caps for Scotland and having previously played for Middlesbrough and Celtic, this was his...
Pies.
Grado.
McManus.
It is. Well done. 1-1. Goes to the last player, boys.
Nerve jangler now, boys. Nerve jangler.
Here we go. This tricky winger made 25 appearances for Dundee United in this season, scoring 5 goals, although this was to be his last at Tannadice.
Pies.
Oh!
Johnny Russell.
Wrong!
You lost it!
Right, I'll continue. This was to be his last season at Tannadice before joining Celtic.
Oh, no, you bastard!
He scored Dundee United's second goal in a 3-1 win against Rangers in the
idiot!
semi-final at Ibrox.
He's going to end up winning this
Final
now, man.
on the
I don't think he knows it.
Can I not get a guess it? No, I'm out, ain't I?
You're out.
I'll go until I get. I'll keep going until I get to the end. He started in the 2-0 defeat at St Johnstone at Celtic Park, being substituted for Ryan Gold after 64 minutes. After a fairly lacklustre career at Celtic, he played for Aberdeen, New York City, and now finds himself at Hearts. Come on, Gary.
I've no idea.
You've no idea.
Gary Mackay-Steven.
Gary Mackay-Steven. Grado's got.
No, but I'm out.
But Grado's out.
I'm out. That's fair.
You got an R1. You got an R1, John.
I've not. I thought this was so easy to do.
That was actually easy to do, the bands, man.
I thought it was so easy.
You'll get anywhere, man. Because that's no fair. Because I was out.
I tell you what, I'll grab up a Rangers player from that season since you're both Rangers.
Oh fuck! That's dark memories, mate.
This player joined Rangers on a 3-year deal pending international clearance on August 2012. After the move, he joined Rangers because manager Ali McCoist persuaded him to join. He made his first debut against Falkirk in the League Cup in 2012.
Position is he?
He is a centre-half. He's from France, and he was playing on the Rangers.
55.
Gary.
Ori.
Well done.
Yay!
There we go.
I like the fact he joined Rangers because manager Ali McCoy got him to join Rangers.
Well done, mate.
Well done, Gary.
Well done,
Gary. Well,
yeah, mate.
and if you want pies, Again, remember where to go, piesports.com.
Now let's welcome to Football Daft a legend of the Scottish game. As a manager, he took Falkirk to the First Division title twice and their highest league finish. He also took Kilmarnock to the League Cup final and led Dunfermline through administration. He is most known for his time at Hearts, though, where he won the Scottish Cup, Manager of the Year, and is now a Hall of Famer at the club. It is none other than Jim Jeffries. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Good.
Like everybody else, glad that things are easing up a wee bit and getting back out in the golf course.
You enjoy your golf?
For a few months. No, I like the golf, but we're certainly going. I think the last time I've had a proper round of golf was the 30th of November, so it's been quite a way off. The reason for that is because my course is some 40 minutes away and you're not allowed to travel into that area, so I'm in the wrong postcode, so to wait till that news came the other day where we can now travel to outdoor activities and sport. So
will you be
tomorrow.
Will you be on the course tomorrow morning, first time?
Tomorrow morning.
Good on you, Jim.
Superb. Did you watch the Open?
Yeah, I watched all the
Masters. Sorry.
It was the Masters. Come on.
The Masters, yeah, I watched that. Had a bit of a flitter on it, so we managed to break even.
Oh, now you're talking.
Good. So, Jim, myself and the boys are obviously buzzing to have you on the show. You know, you're a legitimate legend of Scottish football, and it's great to have you on the show. But tell me this, did you always like football growing up?
Football? Everything, right from as a kid. The only thing I ever got for Christmas for my first, when I started as a young boy getting out, was a Hearts strip and tracksuit and a ball and an orange and a packet of peanuts or something like that.
So you were a Hearts fan all the way back to when you were a kid?
Yeah.
That must have been amazing when you eventually got to walk through the doors as a manager of the club.
Oh, without doubt. I think when you say out management, and you never think about it, you just think about the club you're with and having success. And obviously, the success that started at Berwick Rangers and then up to Falkirk, and worked with a great chairman there, and David Holmes, who was put forward with the owners of the club. And he goes about and tells everybody that it was quite a pressure job, because I think everybody associated David with maybe a top name, and like say Graham Roberts was mentioned and Terry Butcher, because they had all played for him at Ibrox. And but I think to go around telling everybody that they were going to do something for the first time in their history is go up winning the title, because I think they always went up as runners up. I think Bob will confirm. John will confirm that. So I think that was a lot of pressure, but we managed to do it, and it was great to achieve that. And we had some. It was there was obviously when I moved to Hearts there was a little bit of a thing happening, but that just shows you how much I respected it at Falkirk, and it was one of the best things I've ever had is getting the Millennium Award, or Manager of the Millennium for Falkirk, after the way that I was sort of, when I moved to Hearts, it wasn't the best.
You broke my heart, Jim. You broke my heart.
Well, it was just one of those things that George. I meant to say I was going to Hearts, and then the mistake I made was I went to Falkirk, and there was hundreds of kids there, and people had gathered to try and emotionally change my mind. And of course, the chairman did a good job on me at the time. We got on great with him, and we did a job. And I was just fed up with it, to be honest, at the time, and just said, look, the Hearts were very persistent, and they knew I was always wanting to go and take that challenge, having supported and played for them. So. As I say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it was took a little bit of a criticism, but it was all my own fault. So, as I say, you move on, and but for Falkirk to give me that title is one I hold very dearly, above all the others that I've managed to get,
That's brilliant. Jim, what are you doing just now? Are you actually part of, I was reading your Wikipedia and it says you're a sort of a advisor at Hearts. Is that the case, or have you taken a step back? What's happening?
Yeah, last week when there was a bit of a criticism flying about, everybody said, what's Jim Jeffries doing and that. And it's quite simple. When you're an advisor, consultant to Anne and the board, then whatever goes on or what I say is purely behind closed door. It's confidential, and if Anne uses it, then fine. If she doesn't, we get on with it. But if whatever I say would only come out if the board or Anne wanted it to. So, and I think that's the same for if you're a consultant advisor in any walk of life. That's that's something that's always held in confidence. It's not my job to come out and say what I think publicly. What I have done is, whenever Robbie's asked me to support him, whether I agree with him or not, it's not up to me. It's up to he stands involved, and I've helped him all every time he's asked me to help him, either with a player going out or a player come in or advice. And I managed to do that, and that's my rules simply. What I think and what is always, as I say, it's not for public domain,
Right. But congratulations, obviously winning the league, Jim. Champions went.
It's great. Yeah,
good news.
Main thing, yeah.
But what do you think of the team's performance? Obviously, overall, you've won the league. That's obviously the main aim at the start of the season. But what do you think of the team's performance this season?
Look, I think Robbie knows, and the players know themselves. That's the most important thing, that we've probably struggled with some performances, disappointing in the 2 cup competitions this year. But all the pressure was on Hearts to get up. They've got there. Yes, if they had hopefully could have done it a few weeks earlier. But the always hardest thing in any sport, whether it's snooker, it's the last frame, if it's golf, it's the last hole, or it's the same in football. It's always tough to get over the line. It doesn't matter how much you lead. How many times have we seen in sport that it's a foregone conclusion, then suddenly, whoa, wait a minute, it's going to be a lot tighter than we think. And I think that happens in tennis. And you could be, it could go, you think it's all over, and then suddenly a couple of things swing either way. And I think that's the beauty of sport, that you can never tell till it's over. And but we got there in the end,
But Jim, do you notice a big difference, maybe when you were managing in the 90s, in terms of managers, the time that they're given to try and make things work? It feels like if it's not working within 3 months, or the fans start voicing their concerns, it's like, oh, he's in the road out. Have you noticed that there is a big change with that since you were managing back then?
Well, put it this way, I was at Falkirk. Falkirk for 5 years after. But Kilmarnock was there for 8 years.
Do you know what? We were talking about that. 8 years you were at Kilmarnock. That is tremendous. That is amazing.
You don't get that time in football now. In fact, the big thing for me now is when I first started out, the manager was always in control or had made the final decision on everything. There was no chief executives, and when we started out, there was no directors of football.
Sorry, Jim. Was that until you ran into Romanov?
That's a book on its own, that one. But in those days when they first started out, the tea lady wouldn't buy you a tea bag without coming to see if it was okay. That the manager agreed that she could go ahead and do that. But just over the years, the manager's position has definitely diminished. It's now coming down. In fact, you don't get many managers now. You get head coaches, and the director of football deals with football, and then chief exec, and then up until. So it is a lot tougher now to be successful and get along. Put it this way, I think testimonials are out there. I think they're a thing of the past.
Unless your name's Ricky Little.
Do you know what? I want to get into the meats and bones of this, right? Because I'll tell you what, me and Bob are Rangers fans growing up, right? And I would have to say that one of the saddest days in our lives was probably one of the happiest days of your lives, right? We've spoken about this podcast before. 16th of May, 1998. It was all meant to be a beautiful send-off to Ali McCoy, Durant, to the goalie.
You ruined it, Jim. You ruined it.
I know.
But what a day if you're a Jambo, because I've actually went back and watched that recently, and all the kind of, it was on BBC not that long ago.
I'm a Russo man.
And there was all the kind of the BBC had shown footage of yous with the open top bus through Edinburgh. What a day that must have been as a Hearts manager, as a team you've supported as a wee boy. Describe that day.
Just we believed, funny enough, when we went to prepare for the final, we had a belief about us that we'd lost obviously to two cup final. The 5-1 was, I mean, remember that year it was 5-1. The year before we were nearly relegated. We were one game away from relegation. So to get to a cup final and finish 4th in the league was a fantastic year for us. So, but we knew, we said after the game, well, it's hurting today, but we need to get back quickly to put it right. Well, the next year we got to the League Cup final when Rangers beat us at Parkhead 4-3.
Parkhead, Gaza.
Great game. Gaza, 15 minutes of pure magic.
Stevie Fulton scored a great goal that day, didn't he? Stevie Fulton.
The goal. We were different class the second half. When we came out, we equalised. We looked like we were going to go on to win it. And then Gascoigne, just 15 minutes of pure magic with a couple of goals. And we still came back and still made it. But we felt that day that it made us determined the right third time lucky. When we got back to the final again, things had changed at Rangers because, as you said quite rightly, they were starting to break up. Gascoigne was gone. Loudrop was in. We thought he's always going to be a danger. He's such a great player, but he was on his way to Chelsea. I don't think he's been so consistent in that last wee while. Might be subconsciously looking after himself, So we always hit on that he isn't maybe right at the top of his form, but we've got to be aware of him. But the big one for me was, and we told the players when we were down in England preparing, we weren't going to get the answer till Tuesday. And that was that Alberts, who had pulled Rangers, I mean, we drew 2-2 in a league game at Ibrox, and he scored both free kicks, one just before and one late on when we looked like we were going to win. And but I felt he was the one that was pulling it, and he got sent off in the last game of the season. And we thought, well, if it's a straight red, he misses. If it's 2 yellows, he's okay. So when we heard he was out, we just thought it was our best chance, because there are a lot of still good players, but didn't have these players that make the difference between,
I remember the semi-final that season. Alberts dragged Rangers through that semi-final.
He did. So it was a big plus for us. So, we got the players' heads. We prepare right. We felt that was our best chance. And as we said to them, we believed that, and I've said this often, that the crowd, the Tynecastle crowd there, would probably 40 years since they won a trophy. So we said that there's probably 75% I'm going to turn up here thinking they'll never see Hearts win a cup. But it was once we won it, it seemed to be the catalyst to go on and win it another. They've won it twice since in a 10-year spell. So it was such a major day. It was just mostly for the fans who had suffered the 86 in Dundee when they lost the league.
Aye.
They nearly won. They were in 2 or 3 finals. They just couldn't get over the line. So it was. We just drummed into their heads all week. You'll never believe the reception or the accolades that you'll get for pulling it off. And we know it's not going to be easy. And but it was just probably anybody who was involved was going to turn around and say it's the greatest day of their lives.
Jim,
it must have been some day for old Gilles Rousset, because when I think about the Scottish, was it the cup final the year before, and the ball
when Loudrop under his legs,
for somebody like Gilles Rousset, that goalie, that must have been like, whoa, that's it. That's the monkey now off my back.
Well, Gilles had some fantastic saves in the game.
He was a good goalie.
He was a great goalkeeper, a great lad. The wee story I was referring to later involves Gilles.
Tell us.
I'll tell you, right?
Tell us a story.
Big Gilles, I still speak to him regular, and he's such a great lad. And because the goal in the 5-1 game, just after half time, it through his legs. You know, it was so heartbreaking for him that, you know, he was distraught after that. So to see him get the final, the man of the match at the final was just if I wanted anybody to get it, it was him, and he got it. So great game, because he was such a great character. But I remember a story when Gary Locke, who was single at the time again, so and Gilles had a daughter who was just getting to the age of 16, 17, who was French, getting quite pretty, you know, and quite a target for the boys, the single boys. So, and of course, Jim Hamilton was Jim Hamilton, I should have answered to a lot of the questions you asked me earlier, as far as training and all that. But anyway, Jim was quite a character in the dressing room and that. So, and Gilles used to just shake his head at some of the things he did. So I turned around to him and I says one day, I says, "Is it okay to swear here, is it?"
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, batter.
So he says, I says, "Gilles," I says, "Laurie's starting to catch the eye of quite a few players." He says, "I know." I says, "What happens if Jim Hamilton was to knock on the door and asked to take her out?" He said, and Gilles had a stammer, right? So he says to me, "Gaffer, I would take a gun and fucking shoot him." And I says, "What about Lucky? What if Lucky turned up and asked her out?" He says, "I would fucking shoot myself."
That's brilliant.
Oh, that is a true story. That is a true story.
Brilliant.
That was funny. Great character. I still keep in touch with these boys. You know, they were a fantastic team. And
it was a great side, Jim. It was a
good
great
side.
heart side, man.
They were a good, well-balanced team. You know, David Weir and that was a good thing. 5 of these youngsters came through. There's a lot of these youngsters at the start when we were building that team, had come through the ranks. It was unfortunate Gary Locke missed it through serious injury, but we had a really good right balance side with a lot of pace with Neil McCann and Colin Cameron, and the back four were just outstanding all year. David Weir and Gary
Jim,
Naismith.
you're mentioning Davy Weir there. Like, obviously, when you look back at like your Falkirk days and stuff, did you ever think Davy would become the player he became?
I think you know, when I seen him, I thought, you know, we've got a player on our hands here, and actually Rangers, again another piece of information. The Rangers, I knew Walter liked him, and we arranged to meet. Walter and I arranged to meet at Westerwood. So, and this is another true story. So we sort of agreed, which was a lot of money in those days, something like £350,000 or something. And so I says, okay, well, anyway. So we had just changed chairman at the time, or a new owner of the club, not just but he became chairman. George Folston, who came from Hamilton, he was with the Hamilton Ackies. So he took over the club. And I told him about what happened, because we didn't have a chairman at the time, so I had to go and speak to Walter ourselves and chat it over, and he liked him. So the plan was, the next day we were to go and meet David Murray and Walter, myself, and George Folston happened to come in the door just that 24 hours before we were due to meet. I think it's 48 hours before we were due to meet David Murray in Edinburgh. So we walks in, right? And Walter and I have virtually agreed the deal when George builders in it and just walks in. And David Murray says, well, we're here. We've got a great interest in Davy Weir. Walter and Jim have been speaking about it. And George just right away interrupted and say, yes, I know that. He says, so we've sort of agreed on 300. He says, it'll cost you £750,000 we'll start there, right, George? And it was funny. The meeting was over in 30 seconds. They just got up. David got up and said, well, thanks for coming anyway. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. But I knew Walter was always after him. And he was my first target when I got the Hearts job. But to get him for, a couple of players and something, I think it was something like 80,000 or something like that, because, and we could have got a lot more back had he not been out of contract with 6 months to go, but Walter took him to Everton, and then he gone on to play for Scotland, and again, that was another, you asked the question, did you see him going on? When I signed him, his first match for the reserves, we were playing a first team fixture at Falkirk, but I let him go and play for the reserves against a border team, actually, that a mate of mine phoned me up and says, could you give us a game? I said, well, we took them to Grangemouth and I couldn't see him because I was away with the first team. So when I got back, he phoned, he says, who was the centre half playing tonight? I says, told Black, I says, it's Davy Weir. I says, that was his first game. And he said, he'll play for Scotland.
Really?
That was just a pre-season friendly in a border town, Selkirk it was, that came to play in a fixture of an East of Scotland team, and just playing a pre-season friendly and just to help them out, and that's what his words was, and he was right.
Because I remember like when Walter Smith's second spell at Ibrox, and I think it was his first signing, Grado, I think, wasn't he? He was his first signing. And he came up, I think it was just a kind of stopgap. Him and Big Ugo kind of signed at the same time because we were very soft at the back. But
steady the shit to the end of the season, wasn't it?
Davy Weir went on to win bloody trebles and UEFA Cup finals and stuff, and he just seemed to keep going and going and going. Just unbelievable talent.
Is there any player? It's funny you say that because you never raised your voice. It's funny, as a wee boy watching the football, I thought, I'd have thought the opposite. I thought you'd be hairdryer treatment, if things aren't quite working out at half time, you'd gaff your nut. But you don't like that at all. You're quite a calm guy, the way you're kind of talking there.
With me? With Davy? Davy, you mean, or me?
No, you. Did you?
Me?
Aye.
Yeah, you get this reputation that you can go in. Didn't get me wrong, I think in the early days, you wouldn't get away with it now, but in the early days, we've had a few up against the wall, that.
Tell us.
I can tell you one time, and it was Kevin Drinkle I think he was my bodyguard because we played, it was Falkirk, John will know this because we had a really good centre forward in Richard Cadet, small black lad, really terrific in the box. Hard to play. In fact, I think we beat Rangers, not Rangers at the Cup, didn't we? And
2-0 at Ibrox, Coca-Cola Cup.
Aye, that's right. So, but what happened is we were the first. You remember the trophy called the B&Q Cup?
B&Q Cup.
And it was for first and second division teams. Yeah. And we decided not to take, because there was no Premier League first of all, but it was a trophy nonetheless, and we wanted to win it. We were in the first division, the championship is known now. So I said to the boys, why don't we, forget the bonuses? Let's just pile it up. If we can get to the final, we'll try and maybe prepare away in Spain or something like that, and for the final of it. So we did that, and we managed to get a trip over to Nerka to prepare for 4 or 5 days and had some bit of laugh, bit of banter. And we were playing St Mirren. Jimmy Bone was the manager in the final at Motherwell on a cold, miserable, snowy, wet, sleety day, 6,000 Falkirk fans in the stadium at Motherwell. So the atmosphere was great. And of course, we had been in Spain and we'd beaten them twice in the league comfortably. So we were favourites. Well, we were lucky to be 0-0 at half time. Our goalkeeper saved us, and St Mirren were well on top. So I come in, and Billy says, "What are you going to do?" I says, "We've not got time to go round them all." And I says, "So we'll pick on one guy that we know who might return and get the message over." So I come in, and wee Richard Cadet got it, didn't he? Because he never broke sweat. He was still in Nerca, sunning himself, I think. So I've come in, I've read the riot act, and he's up and had a wee go, you know. So I've picked him up by the neck, and I've banged him against the wall, you know. And Yogi's dived in, Kevin Drinkle dived in and said, "Look, calm down, you know, calm down." But they did. Yogi turned and said, "And by the way, he's right," you know. And you could see there's some scratch marks sort of appearing down his neck, and I thought, what have I done here? You know, just lost it. Just lost it.
I love the fact that you've been in and Billy's. I've not got time to get in them all.
It's not that. What he's done is he's dodged Big Yogi and he's went for the weakest guy in the room.
Without a doubt. So we go across, right? And on the pitch, you know, the centre circle there, in those days, obviously, their team had to play forward now. He sprinted, right, from where he was standing. They had the kick off, and he sprinted and took the ball off the centre, when the ball sent down. And the first move, and it was played out wide, and it comes across, goal.
Wow.
Within a minute. We won the game 3-0. We were outstanding, so we won the game 3-0. And of course, we'll go and celebrate at the Park Hotel when we got back in Falkirk. And who comes up when I'm at the bar? Cadet. Right? And Drinkle came across because he thought he was going to have a go because he's got 3 scratch marks down his, still in his neck, getting a bit redder and redder. So he come across, and Drinks thinks he's going to have a whack, you know. And I says, "What is it?" He says, "I want to buy you a drink." I says, "What?" He says, "Okay." He says, "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be having this medal." He had his medal in his hand. He says, "If you hadn't done what you done," he says, "we wouldn't have won this cup, and now wouldn't have had this medal." And it just,
they put up the arse they needed, Jim.
Sorry?
They put up the backside they needed.
Yeah, that's, you know, I've often said that, you know, there's nothing wrong. I think it's different now. We know that. You've got to adapt. I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a rocket. You know, you just have to watch it. Maybe some days you or things in the past you could. I'm sure most managers have been in a situation with certain players years ago that could do that. You don't do it now. It's but you know, there's nothing against giving somebody who you think's needing a wee rocket, and there's others who you think, you know, and that's the beauty of management, because there's others that, you know, something like that would destroy a lot of people. So you've got to put know to who put the arm round and who not to. And sometimes when you learn about your players and that, you know how to work situations, you know.
Tell me this one, Jim. See if you could. Would you put Stan Collymore up against the wall with a throat?
Well, another good story with him. I tried to sign him for Hearts, but and funny, when I got the Bradford City job, right, Stan was at Bradford City. So we had when I was introduced to the players, then he just said, "Oh, he says, you've eventually caught up with me then." I said, "Yeah." But Stan had this, he parked his car at Bradford City's training ground, well, at the stadium where they changed. And the chairman came to me, he says, "Listen, we've been getting complaints for the neighbours, Stan's blocking roads and everything." And I said, he says, "Well, you have a word with him." So I went down, I said, "Stan, your car," "Yes, Gaffer." He says, I says, "It's blocking road, you can't leave it there, you'll have to shift it." All right. So the chairman says, "Did you speak to Stan?" I says, "Yeah." So the next day, the car's there again. So he says, the chairman comes through, he says, "Have you noticed Stan's car's back there again?" I says, "No." So I goes down, I says, "Stan, listen, you're going to get fined if you know." And I says, "I don't think, you know, it's going to be 50 quid or anything like that." And he said, "You know," I says, "you're going to be getting whacked heavy." And his answer was, "Gaffer," he says, "when it gets to 50,000, he's a shout."
Oh.
That's the only time he was going to shift the car, if he's when it mounts it.
Oh my God, that's a different world, man.
That's crazy.
He says, when you find me 50 grand, he says, "I'm maybe thinking about shifting it." So that just shows you. But Stan was a great lad, but I think he was on that big, you know, at the time he had a lot of problems mentally, I think, and and know that we ever, it wasn't it, but the physio just told us that he was on that strong antidepressant tablet that it went the other way. He didn't give a hoot about anything. So it was going from despair to the time that just like that, nothing bothered him, you know.
Some player, but wasn't he? He was some player.
Great player. He's a great player.
Like obviously,
Jim, I let him go we let him go. He went to Spain in Oviedo, and you're not going to believe this one. Oviedo's in the north, you know, for Spain. So, and he was commuting every day. He was fine. He lived in Birmingham. He used to go to the airport and fly to, I don't know if it's Madrid or something, and then make his way up to Oviedo. After training, he'd go back down, fly home, and back out the next one.
What?
Jesus.
No, that's what they were telling me. He ended up doing, you know. Or that was what I was being told anyway by the staff, by the boys that knew him, you know.
But obviously, Jim, you're a household name in Scottish football. But when you went to Bradford, how did you find it down south compared to up here?
Well, we couldn't have turned it down. I'd heard a lot of bad things about the chairman, you know, because he had a reputation. I mean, and he spent most of the money that before I got there. And he said, you know, there was, which a lot of money to them at that time was 19 million plus. And he brought a lot of great players who had great careers, but they were at the end of their careers. And I think, if you're being honest, they came because it was money. You know, he threw a lot of money. He threw good money at them. I mean, we had Benny Carboni, who was a lovely lad, and everything like that. But in those days, you know, £40,000 something a week or something was a lot of money. And this is a guy who had never played for Italy or any perform, and he relegated 3 or 4 clubs. I'm not saying it was his fault, but he'd come from 3 clubs who had been. But the chairman loved him, and he did the deal, and he wasn't going to lose him. And he bought a lot of good players. But when you went there, you said to yourself, well, they all can't play, and they're not all going to be happy. So it was a tough ask, and we knew they were going. I think they knew they were never going to survive that year. But people like that were there before me, like say Paul Jewell, I got friendly with that because they all knew what I was going into, and they tried to help me and steer me through some of the things that he's done. But he turned out to be a very, very difficult chairman to work for. I think the best thing I did for them was get probably 10 million off the wage bill because they couldn't afford to so. And if you look at when I cut down the squad, it wasn't easy when they're on that bigger money because they were all at the end of their careers, and they'd all been. And don't get me wrong, all great players in their day, but I had to cut it down. And when I cut it down, the last 10 games, you know, we had. If you look at the results, we had something going. You know, we had some cracking, and I mean Walter and Archie. We went to play second. We were already down, and we played. They were the first game after it was confirmed we were down, and they were in trouble. They were, if they didn't beat us, they were going to Sunderland the following week to stay in the league, and we were 2-0 up, missed a penalty, and we were 1-0 up, missed a penalty, and we were 2-1 up and missed another penalty, and they pipped us 3-2. I've never seen Walter and Archie so, you know, drained after a match, and I'd seen that a lot with Hearts, Hearts Falkirk games and everything. But God, they knew they were very lucky that day to win, and the last thing they wanted. And in a way, I'm glad because obviously Walter and I were quite close when it came to football matters and that, you know, and till this day we're. Him and Archie and myself and Billy and all that, we always bump into them. It's great to see them, you know.
That would be some tag team match in the wrestling, Walter and Archie versus Jim Jeffries,
Jim and Billy
Brown. That'd be something else. That'd be total entertainment, you know.
The best story I heard, maybe you've had Coisty on and told the story. You'll probably hear from it, but did he ever tell you about Durante when he had to go and do a report for Barcelona? Have you heard that?
No, what was that?
Yeah, it was Ali McCoy, because I meet Ali a lot in the holidays and that, because we go to the same area and play a bit of golf at times a few years since, but I remember him telling me the story. He says that Walter sent Ian Durant when he was injured. He says he sent him to watch Barcelona in the Champions League. And, had a game against them, and so he went and watched the game, did a report, and I think he had a couple of sheets there where he had strengths and weaknesses, and of course come back, and he must have went to Walter's room and put down his report, and Walter came chasing down to Coisty and says, where's Durante? He says, oh, he's just away, Gaffer. He says, why? He says, he's put this report down on my desk. He says, what, the Barcelona game? He says, he says, strengths and weaknesses. He says, I don't know. He says, come and look at this. He says, on the strength side, the page was full. There's absolutely not a space left. They were so good that all their strengths were listed, right? He only had one thing in the weakness side, and that Ronaldinho had a bad set of teeth.
Brilliant. You've got to have some Romanov stories for us. You've got to.
Oh well, first time I met him was he had I got on quite well with his right hand man Sergei Fetitovas, who was mostly the go between. He was more in Scotland than that. So when it was arranged, I was going to meet him. So I'm over in Lithuania, and Sergei picks me up, and I'm all changed. I've got the collar and tie and everything on. So we go to his office, and he turns up with a little with jeans with the trendy holes in them and everything like that, and he's got the wee sort of bomber jacket on with the Simon Cowell t-shirt, and I'm looking at him, and he said, "You come with me." Well, I went downstairs, and he's got a huge, below in his office, he's got a huge room, which is just like a big gymnasium, which was all glass down, mirrored down one side, a state of the art, which was the big passion in Lithuania, and his passion is basketball. So he's got the big there. I thought, don't tell me we're going to be having a go with this basketball, right? The third he said, you just sit here. And this is me meeting him for the first time. So he comes out from behind the screen with this pretty girl, right? And goes and starts dancing. And I says to Sergei, I says, 45 minutes I had to sit there watching him dancing with this. Oh. And he said, oh, he's practicing because he's in the final of the Strictly Come Dancing Lithuanian version. Nice. I says, oh. So I had to wait there. He went away and he danced again for another half hour with another girl. And then we go up and have a crazy meeting or something, which I was expecting, because obviously you hear some things about him. So, because he was in a long boardroom table and he was at the other end, and he had this board behind me, and he was darting up to the board to talk about players and all that, and dashing by. It's just a crazy meeting. Anyway, when I got back a couple of weeks later, I said to the girl who was Lithuanian in the office in Edinburgh, I said, who was related, I think she was the lovely girl, Janet, she was related to, I think, Romanov's wife. But she was working in the club with Carbo Ogilvy and that. And I says, listen, how did Mr. Romanov get on in the final with the Strictly Come Dancing? Oh, she says, he won it. He won it. I says, oh, that's good. She says, he had to. He owns the radio, he owns the TV station. And another one, you have to hear this one, because we were having a friendly in Berlin, and Union Berlin, and I got the call, Mr. Romanov's coming to the game, he's flying in. I says, oh great, and you must congratulate him. Sergei says, you must congratulate him. I says, why? He says, he's a world champion. And I says, a world champion? What? He says, basketball. I says, he's fucking 5'5". How's he a basketball champion? You must congratulate him. So he comes round the corner, beautiful day in Berlin, we're playing again, and he's got the chest out, and I'm saying, well done, Mr. Billy's over it. And Billy said, what we do? Just congratulate him, he's a little. So we got the story at night. What happened is it was an over 55s competition in Argentina, of which Lithuania had a team, which he sponsored. Right? So they invited him along because he had paid for the trip, basically. And these boys were all retired. I mean, they were all great players at the time. So what they did was, it was done in a section. They had won it with 2 games to spare, or 1 game to spare. So in the last game, just as a thank you, they put him on with a bit with the strip, and he's going about telling everybody he's a world champion. That's what you were up against with Vladimir. And a funny way, I got on fine with him. He was well named. He was just Mad Vlad, and that's the best way to describe him.
Jim, it has been absolutely fantastic speaking to you. Honestly, it's been great, mate. But at the end, every week on Football Daft, we put our guest Scottish football knowledge to the test with our 90-second quiz. You up for it, mate?
Yeah, on you go.
Right, cool. Well, we've got a leaderboard. David Martindale's top of the leaderboard with a score of 16. In joint second, it's John Sutton and Chick Young with 15. Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley are third with 14. Other selected scores include Barry Ferguson on 12. Yogi is on 6. Jim Leishman on 5. And at the bottom, it's a tie between Peter Lovencrans, Derek Johnston, Craig Levine, and Mixu Patalainen, who are all on 3. Is there anybody you want to beat on that leaderboard, Jim?
As long as I get past Yogi, I can then I'll be fine.
There we go. Well, you can't pass. You must give an answer, mate. Even if you don't know, you can't pass. Right. You get 90 seconds in grade.
Is it on football or is it on general
football,
knowledge?
mate? Just all football.
Football.
I thought you were going to say, is it on River City?
River City, is that what you were going to say? Right, okay.
Got the questions there, Grado?
Right, I've got the questions ready, okay? Are we ready, John? Remember, you can't pass. Name either club Pele played for.
Santos.
Stephen Purden plays which character in River City?
Sorry, say again?
Stephen Purden plays which character on River City?
Seals football.
Yes.
What club did Brian Laudrup leave Rangers to join?
Chelsea.
Kelty Hearts are based in which Fife village?
Kelty.
In what year did you win the Texaco Cup with Hearts?
1975.
Who's the current Dunfermline Athletic manager?
Stevie Crawford.
Scotland international Grant Hanley currently plays for which club?
He plays for Norwich.
Name any Scottish side Lee Wilkie played for.
Dundee.
Who did you sign Simon Stainrod from to Falkirk?
Rouen in France.
What club are known as the Honest Men?
Yeah, United.
Who does Robert Snodgrass currently play for?
West Brom.
Name a Scottish club with Albion in their name.
Time.
Well, there you have it. Not too bad.
He gets that one. He got Albion Rovers at the end.
Yeah.
There we go.
By the way, you only get one wrong there in the questions that were asked.
Excellent. Just get away, Tom.
John's raging because he hates. I done that last
Sorry,
week.
sorry, John. I get excited.
Listen, there's a quiz dynamic here, Chris Toll.
I know.
We'll let the guests know.
You get one right.
Right, we'll go to the wrong answer.
I sit with my fingers and I count the right answers.
Jim, you did very well. Like Chris said, not many wrong. You only got one wrong, and apparently you won the Texaco Cup with Hearts 70-71 season, Jim.
70-71.
That was it. Aside from that, you got them all spot on, including the fact that Stephen Purden is Chelsea Bob in River City. You got 11. Well done. You beat
Well
Yogi.
done.
Well done.
You beat
Thank
Yogi
you.
then, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Brilliant, Jim. Jim,
It's
honestly, we
been a
appreciate you giving up
pleasure,
your
man.
time so much.
Great
It's
It's
boys.
been a
great.
pleasure.
Thanks for asking, and I've been really pleased to meet you. It's been great.
Oh, that's great,
Brilliant,
Jim.
Jim.
Honestly,
Thank
the
you so
best
much.
part.
You're the
Take
best.
care,
Thanks a
alright?
lot.
Take care of
Okay,
yourself.
Well, troops, what an outstanding episode. I've got to say, Jim Jeffries was everything I could have ever asked for, and even more. He was on a. He just loved telling his wee stories.
It was like a time capsule.
Aye.
That's what it was like. It was like it was,
And as you all say, when you think about Scottish football managers, when you're a wee guy and all that, Jim Jeffries comes into your team.
Yes, he does. And do you know what? It's people like him, Gus McPherson, who was your man at Kelly again?
Bobby Williamson.
Bobby Williamson, aye, people like that. But do you know, this interview and having him on the show has really changed my opinion of him, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be grumpy as anything, just because the way he used to act on the.
he was
on the
fully
side.
invested in the episode, man. He was
Yeah.
like pure want to sit. It's the way he kept going. Wait, hear this one. Wait, hear this one. They're like that. We've got him, man. It's brilliant.
And
Know
if
what it was
anybody
like? Know what it was
notices-
like, Grado? You'll not know this, Grado, but Stevie, know what it's like? Remember the episode of The Sopranos when they're sitting around the table and they're having the remember when conversation?
Oh,
It just like
Well,
remember
can't
when,
remember.
remember when. It was amazing.
remember when. Mate, that's annoying me now. Right, I know what you're talking about. Right, I'm with.
But just a wee kind of note for the listeners. I did kind of get mixed up when he said about. I thought he said he never raised his voice that much. So I misheard that. If you're listening, going Dafty, but I know he was talking about Davy Weird. But you know, I had a couple of Morettis a day. I've enjoyed myself. Got to see my pals. Got to see Jim Jeffries. Brilliant day, guys. And we're now going to talk about the Scottish Cup 4th round. Is it?
Yes.
The 4th round is this Sunday. We're all looking forward to it.
I'll tell you this right now, lads. I'm confident.
I can
I
tell.
bet you
I'm
are.
confident getting into this one.
I bet you are, Eto, because we've as we say, the last 2 Old Firm games. It's not that we've no turned up, but we've dragged our ass through it. Last couple of games, even that we've played, we've no really been. We'll put it this way: we're due a good game, or we're due a fucking doing. So it's each his own.
This is it.
Here's my question for you, Christopher.
Yes.
You've changed your tune drastically over the past few weeks about your club. Very confident. You're this and that. You're in the group chat saying we must sign El Yunusi and all that. Your peckers up a wee bit.
Oh.
So
Have I been sending your 40s again?
is Kennedy the man for the job then?
No, he's not.
How?
What I think's happening is the players are playing without pressure. They don't have any pressure. Right. That could change on Sunday. Wee bit of pressure. This is our last chance for silverware this season. Scott Brown's last chance for silverware at Celtic. You know what I mean? There's a narrative to this game for me. And I just feel as if everything's been so down this season for Celtic. I think we're due a wee bit of a smiler. So I think we're going to do it.
You're saying the team's playing without pressure and they're playing well then. So why would you want to sign El Yunusi?
Because he's fucking magic. That's how.
But he's not. He couldn't handle the pressure this season. But
mate, he's probably been one of the ones that's been more consistent than the rest. He has been hot and cold, but he's got 16 goals or something like that this season, and he's been involved in a lot of assists as well. So you know, if you're going by the stats, then he's probably been our best player this season.
I'm shiting myself.
I'm shiting myself, but I always like to get the verdict of somebody who's not involved in it on. I'd like to know what John. I think he's going to predict Rangers to win.
I think Celtic are going to win one of the 2 matches. I think one's going to be a draw, and I think Celtic's going to win one. I think Celtic. I don't know, Toe. As a Celtic supporter,
John, remember this goes to a finish on Sunday.
Yeah, there's no replays with us.
Right.
This is extra time and penalties.
I think he means a league game. I think he means a league game, though.
I'm talking about the league game. There's 2 Old Firm games left, right? Now, this is the question for you, Christopher Toe.
Yes.
Would you rather stop Rangers' unbeaten run, or would you rather try and win the cup?
Well, John McNally, I think I touched on this last week. I think I said that I would prefer us to beat them in the league. But
why?
But wait, Graham Stevely. I have changed my mind. I want to win the cup.
Right.
Something doing like a fucking
I
bride's
know,
night,
mate.
man.
It's
Honestly,
like-
man.
I'm actually
it's
kinda-
I would love to see a fucking compilation of outtakes for you this season. You've been fucking oily camp.
Oh,
All I'm
don't
gonna
say
say
that.
is-
Somebody will fucking dare that now, you prick.
All I'm going to say to you, Toe, was curtains. I think I remember it. It was possibly October 2020. Listen, man, if Celtic turned up, it was curtains for the All Rangers.
No,
Aye,
it
but
was,
they didn't
it
turn
was,
up.
It
I know,
was,
didn't they?
it was if Celtic turned up and decided to play football, it's curtain could be curtains for you. And you
Aye.
did turn up and play football in the last 12 firm games, and you only got a point at it.
Listen,
I
you
think
pair of fucking dicks. This is a different story, alright?
I think Celtic are going to win this Sunday, and I think the league game will be a draw.
And I think Falkirk are going to win at the weekend as well.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
You're welcome, mate. God
Look
bless
at
you.
this, man. Oh,
If we've been at each other's throats during the week, it's like fucking long lost brothers getting
I mean,
reunited.
look, this week has drove Graham to drink in the afternoon. He's been a nerve with eyes today, man. He's fucking sitting shiny still doing this podcast. He's half cut now because of the group chat for it, man. Look at him.
Sorry, Graham. Anyway, lads, it's roasting. The sun's shining through my window. I want to go outside. What do you think? Should we wrap it up now, lads?
Are we going to do predictions what the score's going to be?
All right, all right then.
I'll go for Rangers 1, Celtic 1, Rangers and penalties.
Oh,
Go.
4-0 to Celtic.
If it goes to penalties,
John.
if it goes to penalties, Rangers will win on penalties, I think. But I'm going to say it'll probably be 2-1 Celtic.
Fuck off, John. I hate you.
I know, John, man. I'm saying Rangers 1, Celtic 0.
Oh.
I'm going for a very low scoring, tough, fucking hard fought game, and I think we're going to sneak it.
Well, whatever
Right.
happens, lads, I hope you have a nice day. All right, but we're going to fucking.
Aye, boys. See if it goes wrong on Sunday. Hold on, man. That's fucking. See if it goes wrong on Sunday and we get beat, man. See, you thought that argument was bad last week. I'm going to get pushed in pure John and Toll fucking abuse, man.
Brilliant.
Right.
No time for the big bar story. Sunny outside. Let's get up the road.
Hey, I'll catch you later, Trips. All right,
See you later, boys. Take care. Bye bye.